Okay, so why can some people take or leave booze whilst others can't stop once they get going? Right? It's like, one group of people can flip a switch and they're done, and the other group of people flip a switch and they're gone, right? They're off and running drinking. Well, this isn't about, a personal weakness. It isn't about willpower. It isn't about a moral failing of a person. It's more about brain wiring, habits, and subconscious conditioning. Alcohol consumption habits, the behaviors, the responses, they can all be thought of as a spectrum, right? It's not black and white. It's not, normal drinkers on this side and alcoholic drinkers over on this side here, right? Drinkers can fall anywhere along a spectrum. If you imagined a line, down one end, you've got the people that can take it and or leave it down that end. And then as you move along towards the other end, the next people along drinking might be a bit of a treat or special occasions only. Next group along might be part of a routine. So they're drinking, once or twice a night, maybe when they get home. Next group along is hard to say no, right? If a drink is offered, yep, I'm having the drink. Next one along is always on the mind. So they're thinking about it during the day. It might be lunchtime and they're thinking, oh, 5 o'clock, hurry up. Can't wait to get home and have a couple of beers out of the fridge or go to the pub and meet with someone and have a couple of beers. And then you've got the people that cannot imagine the life without it. So they're thinking about it all the time. They're probably drinking daily. And then right at the other end, alcohol is ruining my life or has ruined my life. They're totally consumed by it. They're drinking to the exclusion of everything else, their family, their jobs, even their life. Then, we talk about people that can take it or leave it. The reason why is that alcohol doesn't or hasn't hooked them in the same way as somebody else further along the spectrum. For others, the brain has learned to expect it, it craves it, and it relies on it. And it turns what was started as a choice, shall I have a drink or not, into a compulsion. They must drink. And you probably notice this. Some guys can head to the pub, knock back a couple of beers, and happily switch to a softie or head home when they said they would. Meanwhile, others, maybe you, me, once that first beer goes down, the night doesn't stop until the lights come on and the bar staff go home. At social functions, I used to always be the last one to leave. Not necessarily when the beer ran out, but I was usually one of the last two left standing. But here's the thing. It's not about being weak, soft, or lacking discipline. It's all about how the alcohol interacts with your brain, how the brain and the body has evolved to deal with alcohol. Right? This is a human problem. It might be shocking to realize that any human being on this planet, from the mere fact of being a human, has the potential to become addicted to alcohol, to go from the take it or leave it stage to the life consuming stage. It just depends where you are along the spectrum and what sort of things have happened along the way and what sort of conditioning you have and how the brain reacts to the alcohol. For some people, the reward pathways light up much stronger. So when we take a drink, we get a dopamine surge, and the brain takes note of that and says, this is good, let's do that again. And the reward system gets hijacked. And over time, that loop, that was good, let's do it again, becomes hardwired. It becomes the go-to thing, right? It's like a super highway in the brain of neurons that go, yep, if this happens here, zoop, let's have a drink. Brain reinforces that. Oh, that was great. Let's do that again. And we repeat that behavior. So what started out as a casual drink becomes a need. And on top of that, we've got habits, right? When we do certain things, we don't have to think about it because your brain likes to build a habit because it saves energy. So if you come home at a particular time and you open the door, you walk across to the fridge, you open the fridge door, you grab out your beer, you find the bottle opener in the drawer, pull the bottle opener out, flip the lid off, and maybe pour it into a glass, or maybe you have a drink. All of that the first time you did it took a lot of thinking, right? Reaching for the door handle. Where is it? Here is it. Here. Which way do I push the door? Shall I walk this way or that way to the fridge? Which is the fastest way? Here's the fridge. Which way does the door open? Is the beer cold? Is there any beer in the fridge? Did I put beer in it yesterday? Which drawer has the bottle opener in it? Which section of the drawer has the bottle opener? All of these things are little decisions. And if you keep repeating all of those things day in, day out, it becomes a habit, right? It becomes a reinforced neural pathway so that when you come in from work on a particular day, you don't have to think about how you get in that door, how you navigate the room. You don't have to think about where the fridge is. You don't have to think about what shelf the beer's on, and you don't have to think about what drawer the bottle opener's in, unless the missus moves it to another spot, and then there could be trouble. Right, so your brain learns these shortcuts, these habits. And in stress and boredom or tough emotions, those habits can kick in, and suddenly alcohol isn't just a drink, it's your go-to coping tool. Right? And once you give alcohol a job, for example, it can be very hard to put down the tool. So typically a job for alcohol is like to relieve anxiety or to relax me or help me wind down. Um, right? Giving it the job means that you need that benefit that the alcohol provides you. And meanwhile, your mate who can stop it too, well, maybe his internal wiring is different. Maybe he hasn't got the same neural pathways that you have. Maybe he doesn't have the same conditioning that you had. But we don't know that, right? We can't see inside his head. We don't really know what he's feeling and what he does when he gets home. Maybe he can go to the pub with you and have one or two drinks, and maybe he can delay long enough until he gets home and opens that fridge and off he goes. Or maybe it's just not an issue. Once he gets home, he doesn't drink. And this is one of the reasons why comparison is such a dead-end street, right? We need to stay in our lane and focus on what is right for us. So here's the truth. If you feel like you can't stop once you start, it's not a character flaw, right? It's conditioning. And the good news is conditioning can be rewired. You may have heard of a thing called neuroplasticity. So when you have all those little habits and things in the brain that form neural pathways, they can be reshaped, they can be reformed. We can create new habits if we're given time away from alcohol and the right tools. We can weaken, those craving loops, those loops that are in there that desire the alcohol. And then once that happens, you start to get your choices back. So it's not about why your mate can take it or leave it. It's about why you deserve to get back the freedom that you choose and not worry about, other people. It's about you. Okay.